Heavy disaster during first week of 2023 mountaineering on Annapurna Mountain. It was the first week of 2023. 3 climbers were enthusiastically climbing the Annapurna Mountain, struggling with steep inclines and waist-deep snow. The mountain's reputation for avalanches and unpredictable weather added to the expedition's intensity and danger. Despite the dangers, climbers continued each step and brought them closer to their goal. But here's the twist. It wasn't an avalanche or a cliff that caused a stir this time. Something totally different stopped one climber from reaching the top. What was it that stopped one climber dead in their tracks, if not avalanches or steep cliffs? How did the very air of Everest conspire against her? And can sheer human grit outdo the fury of the mountains? You don't want to miss this epic adventure. It's a real life thriller on the icy peaks, so let's begin. Many Annapurna climbers struggled in 2023. This season, Annapurna has lived up to its reputation for treachery and high death rates. Irish mountaineer Noel Hanna, who had summited Everest 8 times, was one of the climbers. Anurag Malu and Baljit Kaur, Indian climbers, accompanied Noel. Annapurna, the 10th tallest peak in the world, was their aim. Noel Hanna conquered Annapurna 1 with courage and skill. Exhaustion killed him in his fall. The next morning, his body was recovered in his tent, mourning the loss of an expert mountaineer. Another Annapurna 1 climber, Baljit Kaur, had difficulties. Baljit's descent increased her altitude sickness. A Sherpa was quickly sent to save her after an airborne surveillance aircraft spotted her on a known route. Baljit and her guide survived the ordeal and returned to base camp relieved. Anurag Malu slipped into a concealed fissure while descending Annapurna 1, changing his expedition. Luckily, a ledge stopped his fall. Anurag suffered terrible injuries and was stuck until Polish climber Adam Balicki found him 3 days later. Anurag was rescued and transported to Kathmandu for treatment. Noel Hanna, a seasoned and daring Irish climber, set his sights on the difficult Annapurna 1 summit. With a stellar mountaineering resume that included 10 successful summits of Everest, Noel was no stranger to extreme heights and challenging conditions. In his quest for new peaks, he teamed up with 2 Indian climbers, Anurag Malu and Baljit Kaur, to go on the difficult Annapurna 1. Anurag and Baljit were both experienced climbers in their own right, and they formed a varied and determined team with Noel Hanna. They set out on a quest that would put their physical and mental endurance to the test. Annapurna 1, known for its high death rate and difficult terrain, provided a formidable challenge that demanded undivided attention and competence. The team met different challenges and obstacles as they made their way up the treacherous slopes of Annapurna. The mountain's reputation for avalanches, concealed crevices, and unpredictable weather added to the expedition's intensity and danger. Despite the dangers, Noel, Anurag, and Baljit continued with unyielding tenacity, relying on their climbing skills. The climbers were unified in their persistent pursuit of reaching the peak of Annapurna 1. As they negotiated steep inclines and waist-deep snow, each step brought them closer to their goal. They persisted, guided by their experience and a strong passion for the sport of mountaineering. Noel's considerable climbing feats, including summiting the highest peaks on all 7 continents and becoming the first Northern Ireland climber to conquer K2 without the use of supplemental oxygen, spoke to his love and determination. His companions each added their special abilities and dedication to the team, forming a close friendship based on their common goal. In their effort to summit Annapurna 1, Noel Hanna, Anurag Malu, and Baljit Kaur exemplified the spirit of adventure and the tenacious human spirit. Their worldwide teamwork demonstrated the unifying power of mountaineering, transcending borders and cultural divides. Regardless of the problems that lay ahead, they stood unified in their ambition, ready to face them. Eventually, disaster happened during Noel's descent. He succumbed to tremendous tiredness and exhaustion after the difficult hike. His body, depleted of vitality after over 24 hours on the mountain, simply could not go on. Despite his achievements and significant knowledge, Annapurna 1 claimed his life. The news of Noel's death went fast throughout the climbing community, creating a melancholy tone over the climbers at the base camp. Arjun Vajpayee, a fellow climber who reached the summit on the same day as Noel, discovered his lifeless body in his tent at Camp 4. Noel's death was severely felt as he had made an indelible impression on the world of climbing and inspired numerous adventurers with his astounding feats. Noel died from altitude-related fatigue, a terrible reminder of the risks and obstacles climbers encounter in the merciless heights. His death provided a sharp reminder of the inherent perils of mountaineering, especially for experienced climbers like Noel. The mountaineering community lamented the loss of this outstanding climber, focusing on his legacy and the immense passion he had for the sport. Noel's death emphasized the necessity of physical endurance, acclimatization, and knowing one's limits in high-altitude treks. Noel Hanna's tragic death left a vacuum in the climbing world, but his legacy as a daring and competent climber goes on. His untimely death serves as a sobering reminder that even the most experienced adventurers are not immune to the risks that come with straining the limits of human endurance on the world's highest peaks. Baljeet Kaur, one of the climbers attempting to summit Annapurna 1 alongside Noel and Anurag Malu, had a terrifying descent. She, like Noel, overcame the mountain's hazardous conditions to reach the peak. However, as she descended, she began to suffer from acute altitude sickness. Baljeet became overwhelmed by the consequences of high altitude, and she began to experience hallucinations and physical degeneration. The combination of weariness and adverse weather conditions made the descent much more difficult. Baljeet's body and mind had reached their limits, and she was struggling to keep going on her own. When Baljeet failed to return to the base camp, a search and rescue attempt was begun. Aerial surveillance was carried out, and she was sighted on a well-known path. A group of Sherpas descended quickly to her location, intending to assist her in the perilous descent. Despite the difficult circumstances, the rescue team located Baljeet and began the difficult work of taking her back to base camp. The expedition took almost 7 hours as they traversed the treacherous terrain and changing weather. However, their efforts were rewarded, and Baljeet was safely returned to the base camp without incident. Her successful rescue provided a ray of hope in the middle of the climbing season's devastating tragedies. It highlighted the incredible efforts and competence of the rescue team, as well as Baljeet's resilience and determination. Her survival served as a reminder of the need for early and effective high-altitude rescue operations in rescuing lives that would otherwise be lost to nature's ruthless powers. Baljeet's incident served as a vivid reminder of the dangers that climbers confront while attempting to summit peaks such as Annapurna 1. Anurag Malu, one of the other climbers who summited with Noel and Baljeet, was involved in a tragic accident on the difficult descent from Annapurna. As he made his way down the mountain, Anurag fell into a dangerous chasm and vanished. The rapid fall left him injured and separated from the rest of the climbing party. Concern increased at base camp when Anurag did not make contact or return as scheduled. When the climbers discovered he went missing, they quickly initiated a search and rescue operation. Helicopters scoured the region from above, while a team of skilled Sherpas combed the terrain for any traces of Anurag. As the days passed and the search offered no findings, hope began to fade. On the third day, however, a Polish climber called Adam Bilecki, who was helping with the search, discovered a big chasm. Surprisingly, he discovered a slight crimson tint beneath the snow-covered surface, a sign of life. Adam had found Anurag, who had somehow survived the first fall, stuck on a ledge inside the chasm. With Anurag's location discovered, a rescue squad was promptly assembled to extract him from his perilous situation. Anurag's resilience triumphed despite the severity of his injuries from the fall. He is currently recovering slowly and painfully from his bodily wounds. The struggle he went through demonstrates the incredible strength and endurance of the human spirit. Anurag's rescue not only gave comfort and delight to his fellow climbers, but also demonstrated the search and rescue team's unshakable dedication and ability. This story serves as a sharp reminder of the inherent risks and perils of high-altitude mountaineering. It emphasizes the significance of meticulous planning, safety precautions, and awareness during descents. The tragedy also emphasizes the crucial role that rescue teams play in saving lives and providing life-saving medical care in remote and difficult mountain regions.